All right, welcome. We are going to do a few examples on worksheet, I think it's called Unit 2, Day 3. And the first video is going to be on finding an angle that's coterminal to the given angle. And these four problems, the directions don't say where it has to be specifically. They just said find any angle that's coterminal, okay? Sometimes it's more specific and it gives you an interval. We'll talk about that in just a second. But if the original problem is in degrees, then you want to work in degrees and you want your answer to be in degrees. If the original problem is in radians, then you want to work in radians and you want your answer. So don't convert, so just use that. So the first one's 800. So to find a coterminal angle, if the angle's right here, let's say it's 30 degrees, we're just gonna either add 360 to it, and you can add 360 an infinite number of times and get another coterminal angle. Or you could subtract 360. That's all we're doing. Either adding 360 or subtracting 360. So, right, okay. So if I add 360, I get, in the answer key it says 1,160, okay? But let's say I subtract 360, okay? And I get 420. But then I get a problem that says, well, we really want your angle between 0 and 2 pi, or 0 and 360. Well, 420 is still above 360, so I maybe need to subtract another 360. So if I take 420 and subtract another 360, I should be putting degree signs, there we go. I get 60 degrees. So these are all coterminal angles. 60 degrees, 420, add another 360, I get the 800. Add another 360, I get 1160. And for this problem, any of those answers are fine. But if they say between 0 and 360, that needs to be your answer. How are we doing? Good? Sit. That's all there is to it. So, -10, I'm just going to add 360, and I get 350. And if the interval was between 0 and 360, that would be on your interval. Okay, so those aren't too bad. Now, when you're working in radians, you're going to have to add this 360, which is going to be 2 pi now, with the same denominator. So we're gonna have to add 2 pi in fourths or fifths or sixths or whatever our fraction is. So we're gonna be working for number 3 in fourths. Okay, so if I have to add 2 pi in fourths, how many fourths is that? All the way around the circle, 2 pi. How many fourths is that?
8.
8 fourths, right? So if I had 0, and I went around 2 pi, and I wrote 2 pi in fourths, it would be 8 pi over 4, and that's equal to 2 pi. So instead of adding 360, I'm going to add 8 pi over 4, or subtract 8 pi over 4, okay? So I've done that a bunch of times. And again, this problem is not specific, so it doesn't say to add or subtract. It just says any coterminal angle. So I've got 25 pi over 4. But if I wanted to subtract another 8 pi over 4, 25 minus 8, I'm going to get 17 pi over 4. Subtract another 8, 9 pi over 4, and then another 8, I'm going to get pi over 4. So 9 pi over 4 is another coterminal angle, and pi over 4. These are all coterminal angles. Okay, this is the only one that's between 0 and 2 pi. So if the problem is specific, maybe you'll get a delta math problem that says, find a coterminal angle between 0 and 2 pi. You would want pi over 4. And the computer, delta math, that sort of thing, probably will give you an interval because it's easier for it to grade, because they don't want an infinite number of answers, they just want one answer. Now, if we're dealing in fifths, what's 2 pi in fifths? 10 pi over 5. It's equal to 2 pi. So we're gonna have to add 10 pi over 5 there. So I've got negative pi over 5, negative pi over 5. Now, if the interval is between 0 and 2 pi, I've got to add another 10 pi over 5 to get 9 pi over 5. So there's one coterminal angle. One more would be 9 pi over 5, and that would be between 0 and 2 pi, because 2 pi is equal to 10 pi over 5, and that's less. How are we doing?